since there is dairy production, in film we call it daily production. We are trying to
document dairy farming.
You can document dairy farming as a story.
Indeed.
But initially where we were, in regards to the data and this data collection,
yes.
What are the major pain points that you're exploiting to get the maximum data from the industry?
I think to start with is first to appreciate that storytelling has a role to play in any given economy. And it is paramount that we position the industry by coming up with specific data that can be able to help decision makers, policy makers, business people, the media, on how to run their business, and also what are the key decision points that they can be able to pick from this. Remember, agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, all have data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. So for us storytellers, for these many years, we've not had a specific component that will help us to get that data. If you ask anybody today, how much did we contribute in the year 2010 to the economy as far as storytelling is concerned? That will not come through because we did not have a framework. And that's why for the past 2 years, Kenya Film Commission was very deliberate to connect to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics so that we could be able to partner and come up with the first ever film industry satellite account. And the main aim of the account is for us to be able to measure what is the impact of the film industry, what kind of investments are we able to bring in based on the data that is available, and also what are the key points that we can be able to bring on the table as far as incentives, legislative framework that will be able to help align the film industry.
Okay.
Yes.
So going back to my question in regards to how you collect this data, how does it happen? How do you get this data from?
First of all, for us to come up with the FIS account, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, as an expert in that particular field, had to do what we call mapping of the film industry, to map it out from creation all the way to consumption. All these particular points have specific components that will be mentioned and put aside as far as the key data points are concerned. We need to know how many people are consuming this data or this content, and also at the same time we need to be able to know what are the kind of manufacturing equipment that the country is importing as tools that are used to content creation. At the same time, how much of content are we able to export? And as we export this particular content, how much are we making in terms of return? Remember, when you talk about revenues in the value chain of the film industry, you think about direct inputs, you talk about specific outputs, think about the indirect revenues that we'll be able to get, as well as direct revenues that we'll be able to get.
Okay.
If I employ 20 people on my production set, these are direct employees that will be able to earn from this production. But at the same time, if this content is sold to another production house, let's say a VOD, which will in turn distribute that particular content to various jurisdictions, and these jurisdictions are able to utilize this particular content for income generation. Some of this will be directly or indirectly earned from this particular kind of content. So our main aim on this particular program, as far as FISA is concerned, is to map out what are the key data points. And that's what for the past 6 months we were able to map out and come up with specific areas where we can be able to collect data and be able to unleash to the public.
Okay, what were these specific area points?
The specific area points we are saying, think about the equipment that we are able to import.
Okay.
These are areas that we can be able to document how much of equipment were we able to import given a period of time.
Okay.
At the same time, how much in terms of content were we able to produce during a given period of time.
Okay.
How many people were employed within the industry within the period that we are actually looking at.
Okay.
Other than that, we have men and we have women working in the film industry. How many of men were employed during the period and how much was in terms of income? In addition to this, we're also going beyond that and asking ourselves, how many young people are graduating from universities and joining the film industry? And what is the correlation in terms of job creation as far as the film industry is concerned.
Definitely.
Yes.
And you say that this data will be critical in terms of interventions into the industry. As we are right now, the status quo of the industry, what do you think are sort of the low-hanging fruits that we can start with that are very critical when you approach the legislators, for example, when you approach Treasury, all these wings that are critical in the functioning of the Kenyan economy? Yes. What are the key sectors that we can have easy interventions that filmmakers and people in the industry can look forward to in the short term?
Of course, the film industry, just like any other industry, must be looked at as a low-hanging fruit as far as growth of our economy is concerned. One, its capacity to employ many people. One production set, for example, here at KTN, this show that we are currently showcasing, you will find that behind the scenes we have so many people that are employed that are actually enabling this particular show to come out. The same applies to film, TV shows, series, among others. So for us, we are saying we need to incentivize the film industry in a way that we attract more investors into the sector. The same way we are able to incentivize that farmer who produces maize in Trans Nzoia is the same way I should be able to incentivize a producer to be able to champion more storytelling in the country. And when we do this, we increase the basket in the sense that we are able to tell many stories, we're able to employ more people, and we're able to get maximum returns to the industry. Yes.
Definitely. And Mr. Owase, I know during the unveil of FISA, quite interesting numbers came up, 35,000 people employed, even contribution is in the billions. I'm looking at the year that has been. Now we're just counting days to December.
Right,
and that conversation about closing up the year and assessing the sectors is coming up. Yes. How has the year been for the film sector?
I believe the year has not been easy, but the opportunities are huge. I'm seeing more productions taking place in partnership with the GIZ, which is a program that is supported by the German government. Kenya Film Commission alone was able to support 22 productions, creating about 2,000 jobs. These were direct jobs that the commission was able to create without having to go to the film industry and found out how many other producers were able to employ as far as their productions are concerned. So looking at the main value chain of the film industry, the opportunities I'm seeing are huge. We have room to be able to do much better, but the need for people to consume more content is high, but at the same time, government is also keen to see to it that we promote the production of stories in this country. Okay. Remember, when we look at the BETA, the bottom-up economic transformational agenda, the creative economy has been classified as number 5 on the pillar. Basically, that in itself communicates that the government is very ready and ready to see to it that this industry produces and supports the growth of this economy in a way that we would like to see.
Okay.
Yes.
The evolution, because when you talk about, even while we were discussing in regards to this particular FISA tool and its utilization, saying that we are the second in Africa after South Africa.
Correct.
What observation have you made in South Africa in terms of the effectiveness of this tool, and how has that shaped the industry down there?
Okay. From the findings that we were able to get, of course, when I look at the figures, Kenya's contribution from the industry to the GDP is much higher than that one of South Africa. And again, I can also confirm that South Africa, given that they have incentives that are already operational, if Kenya was to implement the operational framework, we are likely to even do much better.
What are those incentives?
Tax rebates. We would like to be able to attract more investment into the sector, attract foreign producers to come and produce films here, so that we're able to create more jobs, and at the same time, act as a catalyst for local producers to tell our local stories that we can be able to export to the international markets. And when we do this, we expand the market, give ourselves room to market Kenya or take Kenya to the world and bring the world to Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the core market? Because reason why I asked that, because there's always that discussion. What is the Kenyan story? Yeah, and we are very diverse. You know, we are not viewed as a monolith the way we view, for example, Nigerian film industry. We expect this outlook. So that diversity and creating the Kenyan narrative, however diverse is it, how are we going about that? How intentional are we on that?
I think the diversity of our country is a strength in itself because we have very rich stories that we can be able to tell. All we need is to continue harnessing the same, bring this, package it, and have Kenya's film industry branded into a specific single. Remember, we have Nollywood, there is Hollywood.
Yes.
But in our country, we are yet to brand the industry, which is now our key mission at Kenya Film Commission, to see to it that we brand the Kenyan film industry so that we are recognized by a specific element.
Okay.
By doing this, we'll be able to champion all the 47 counties to be able to tell stories. You can imagine if each county was to produce just one story every year, a story that can be able to go to the international market, market Kenya, brand Kenya, attract more tourism, and also help us market Kenya as an investment destination.
Okay.
I believe this is the power that film is able to do. And the power of storytelling cannot be able to be compared to any marketing initiative that one can be able to put.
Definitely.
And that's why, as we move into the future, the film industry is transitioning from just being called the film industry into the screen industry. That's why we need to value gaming, to value animation, and the general filmmaking in general.
Okay.
Yes.
It's interesting because even when you talk about this industry, some of the issues that popped up, it's always about the foundations. If we have a very strong foundation, then it becomes easier to build. And one of the easiest ways to set the foundation in the country is through the education system.
Right.
And now we are having CBC.
Correct.
And our parents are being told to shoot with their children. Yeah, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it makes it fun, and you get to interact, and like the 844 system, you know, it was just...
I think we're on the right track.
Yes.
Because it's never too late. I'm not afraid to do homework with my children.
Yes.
Because that is one way of learning. And the storytelling, as I said earlier, it's the best way to actually learn. So the more we are able to do homework with our children, the more
How intentional is it, the film aspect, into the curriculums?
It is intentional because the Kenya Film Commission and the film industry as a whole, we are working with the Ministry of Education to see to it that we have a specific curriculum that is geared towards the professionals within the film industry.
Okay.
Unlike before, when we never had any kind of curriculum that you will be able to pinpoint, I should be able to tell that Noah, as a script writer, you must be able to attain X number of points at this level to qualify as a script writer at a diploma level or at a master's level, and so on and so forth. So this is very intentional.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there timelines? Is it out? Where are we?
I think if you went to the KICD website, the CDAC, we already developed a curriculum which you can be able to attest to for the diploma tertiary institutions.
Okay.
Yes. That's already in place.
All right.
And for universities, most senates have already approved curriculums that are already operational. I think 90% of Kenya's universities are actually training storytelling. So that is not something that is outside the education system.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad the tertiary level, I mean, it's been there.
Yes.
Now for the lower levels.
At the lower level as well, and that's why look at the drama film festivals, which are now very deliberately being executed, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Creative Economy and Sports is fully integrated into working with the Ministry of Education to see to it that we champion the creativity within this particular element, so that we are able to see to it that that young girl who wants to become a dancer, and we have been able to identify her talent at that lowest level, we should be able to nurture her talent from that level going all the way up. And that's why through Talanta Hela, which is a ministry's initiative, it's all about consolidating all elements that can be able to bring talent and money, because we must be able to commercialize anything that relates to storytelling. Because when we connect money and talent, then we get the full cycle.
Definitely.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Wase, I love that quote. Ni kama movie, ni kama video.
Come and drama.
Ni kama drama. We have to tell our own stories, and I'm glad that we are able to quantify. I think it's a motivational tool, and also, as you rightly put it, a tool that you can use to intervene in the industry specifically. But I really appreciate your time and coming through to talk about FISA.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
And let's champion storytelling in our country.
Exactly.
So this is the industry for the future.
This is the industry for the now and for the future.
Indeed.
Timothy Owase, CEO of Kenya Film Commission, saying, it's time we tell our stories. Let us carry it with pride. This is very critical. That's why we put a full stop on Business Today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Noah Kipkimboy. Up next, you have me, KTN. Stay tuned.